All right, so here we are again, weekly chat, I guess you could say. Still have no name, and if you can come up with a name, we will literally shout you out every show because I've thought about it for a while and I can't come up with anything. So, but anyway, joining me yet again, weekly occurrence here. Cam, what's going on?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Well, let's just jump right into it. NBA draft last night. You're a Cavs fan, right?
Yeah,
I'm a
definitely.
Cavs fan. You're a Cavs fan. We're all Cavs fans.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so fifth pick in the draft, Cavs select Isaac Okoro. What'd you think about it?
I was kind of shocked that they didn't take Obi Toppin with that fifth pick, but I mean, they must know something we don't know. I mean, they're the professionals, so obviously they know something.
Yeah, I wanted Obi. I did, but I think when you take a step back and you look at it, it's kind of like, well, it makes sense because what the Cavs didn't really have like a skilled defender, and I mean, what he's gonna bring to this team, he's an explosive athlete.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
He he uh he's dominant at the rim, whatever, but his defense, I mean, he's the best defender in the draft. And that's something that's gonna add a unique aspect to this team, I think. And
And also, what you need to look at is the Cavs defense last year was atrocious. So that's one
yes.
end of the floor that we needed to get better on, and I think we got better at that with getting Isaac Okoro last night.
Yeah, and I seen somebody on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, but he was one of many Cavs fans, and he's like, I've heard a lot of scouts say this, and I thought about it, and it makes sense. If Isaac can get his shooting game outside of driving to the hoop, if he can get his mid range, and possibly deep. I mean, that's not something he has to get good at, but if he can just become decent as a shooter, um, they were saying he could be very similar to a Kawhi Leonard, and his skill
Wow.
set.
And I mean, I look at this. I mean, the offense is going to come. I mean, that's
Mm.
one thing I'm not really too worried about. I mean, guys, he's going to get an opportunity to improve and score and all of that stuff. So I'm not really too worried about the offensive because we got guys that can take care of that as well. So I'm not really too worried about. Everybody was saying, "Oh, he's not a scorer. He's just a defender." We need those type of guys, and the offense will come.
Yeah, and you look at this young core now. I mean, you know, Kevin Porter, Sexton, Garland. Now you got Okoro. I mean, and there's others too, but I mean, you look at this. You look at this Cavs team right now, and it's not like when we had LeBron. You know what I mean? It's not like we're planning on going to the finals. We're looking to rebuild and build towards the future. And I think what this move did last night, like I said, I wanted Obi. Like you said, you wanted Obi too, but
Definitely.
I think this is not maybe the sexy pick, but it's the necessary pick. And I think this is gonna be a big improvement for this team.
If you look at it, man, it's kind of like how last year was an example for the Browns. How everybody was like, "Whoa, if Isaiah Simmons is there, are we going to take him over getting a left tackle?" I mean, sometimes you got to go with what you need. I mean, you know,
Hmm. Yeah, and segueing into it, coming off of a Browns victory, 7-10. Um, That was kind of a strange game, but I think we're used to it now with this the continuation of this crazy weather. Could have been 17-7. Chubb steps out of bounds, and I'm a Chubb fantasy owner. So, if I didn't win my fantasy game, I would have been pretty upset, but I won anyway. So, but I would much rather get a win, for the Browns than a fantasy win. But so overall, I mean, I felt good about that game. There wasn't a point in that game where I was like, I think we could lose this. Um, so I felt pretty good all the way through. The defense had probably their best overall game. It's not like they had the takeaways that they have
Yeah,
had, but as far as like playing efficient, I thought they've done well. The offense, I mean, Chubb and Hunt. I
I
mean,
mean,
that
it
explains itself.
definitely. I mean, it was a great game for Nick Chubb to come back, and Kareem Hunt's been doing what he's been doing all year, man.
Yeah, it's something special watching those two complement each other, you know?
Yeah, it really is, man.
Cuz they're not, I mean, I don't want to say they don't um not that they don't work together. That's not what I'm trying to say. They're they're very they're different in their own ways, you know. And a lot of times with running backs, you'll get guys who are just, receiving backs out of the backfield, or you'll get your speed guys, or you'll get your power back guys. But Chubb and Hunt, I mean, Chubb's more of that patient, dominant runner. Kareem's more of that see it burst
Ronnie
kind of
Rover
guy.
type. Yep, exactly.
And for whatever reason, I mean, this duo is just spectacular together. Like there is absolutely no dip off. When one comes out, and that is unbelievable to have, especially playing in Cleveland. You're right up there by the lake.
Yeah,
We're
you
getting
gotta
towards
have a
winter.
strong run game, man.
Yeah, we're getting towards winter, and that wind's going to start jumping up, and it's like, it's just something that you're going to have to do. You got to establish that run game. So, yeah,
Definitely,
man,
and that's the Brown. That's the Browns' identity.
it is. And it pretty much has always been, even going back to like recent years, even with guys like Isaiah Crowell, they're not Nick, or he's not like a Nick Chubb, but I mean, to us, that's kind of like, hey, that's our guy. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
So, the Browns right now, sitting at 6-3. And I, I don't know about you. I feel pretty good. I think
yeah.
we're at a good spot.
I'm comfortable at the spot we're in, man.
Yeah. So we got the Eagles coming up Sunday. It is in Cleveland. For whatever reason, I thought it was in Philly. But after checking, it's not. It's in Cleveland. So um, the weather, I guess it's supposed to be somewhat similar to what we've had, rainy. I don't think the wind's supposed to be as bad in this game, from what I've heard. Um, But I guess, do you have any worries about this game at all?
I mean, I not really that I can think of. I think we could. I think we can get the pass game going a little bit more. I really didn't see too much of targeting Hooper or Bryant last week, so I think we need to get those guys back going again. Um, and like we said earlier, I mean, we need to stick with our identity and running the ball.
And that's, I mean, I don't know how many more home games we've got, but it seems like this is going to be the offense, if the game's in Cleveland, because what is this now? 3 home games in a row of the same weather?
Yeah,
That, that's like, that's insane, but, it
it's
is
kind of
what it
crazy,
is.
but I mean, yeah, it's AFC football, man.
Yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, and that's why the Browns went out and got two dominant, you know, linemen, with Big Jed and Conklin. This team's built for this. And, credit to Andrew Berry, at least he knew. That's one of the
Definitely.
things that's one of the things I think that was smart with rehiring him. Well, I don't want to say rehiring him, hiring him to be GM, because he wasn't, I don't know what he was. Was he a scout when he
I
was here before? Is that right?
think he was like player personnel or something like that. One of
Something.
those, yeah, one
Yeah.
of those little power jobs. I think he was the assistant to Sashi Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. But wasn't he here 1 year under Dorsey?
Yeah, the year Dorsey's first year.
Yes. Yeah, because
Then he,
that was
yeah,
the Baker draft.
yeah. Then he went to Philadelphia.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the good things about hiring, the decision to hire Andrew Berry as GM. he understands being here, what the conditions are, It's different if you hired somebody, I don't know, somebody from the West Coast,
Yeah.
one of the West Coast teams who has no clue, what this Cleveland weather, Ohio weather for that
No.
matter.
No.
So I think that was one of those things that you kind of overlook, like that was a good decision. But so I got to tell you, I am not worried about this game at all. And I don't know if I should be afraid of that because normally that's when, these bad
Yeah,
things
things go
happen.
bad. That, yep.
but but it's kind of the same thing with last week, you know.
One thing I am looking forward to seeing is the Eagles have a good defensive front. I'm eager to see how our offensive line and run game responds to that good defensive line from Philadelphia.
Yeah, and it's like we said, the Browns are going to have to establish that run game, and that's I think what you're going to see Sunday is somewhat similar to the Washington game. How Washington had that really good front, but beyond that, it wasn't a whole lot. You know, I think um, I think Washington overall as a defense might be better. I think the Eagles might have the better front. I don't know.
Yeah, their secondary is kind of a little weak, so
Yeah, I was,
that should give us a decent opportunity to try to throw the ball a little and
yeah.
see what
Outside
our
of
receivers can do.
outside of Slay, it's just kind of it is
I
what
think
it
they got
is.
Alshon Jeffrey back.
Do they? I heard.
Yeah, I think he played his first game back for the from the whole season last week.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I heard they were starting to get healthy. I hear Ertz is getting better. Or I'm sorry, Ertz is getting healthier. Should be good to go. But
and their running back Boston Scott.
yeah, and I don't know. It's Are you worried about Wentz at all?
Um, not too much, but you still have to account for him a little.
I feel like he's just been so inconsistent this season.
Yeah, definitely. He's the top leader in turnovers and quarterbacks this year. I think he's
I-
leading the league in turnovers.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow. Well, hey, that's a good opportunity for our secondary.
For our defense to look good.
Yeah, but it also, I don't know. It kind of depends because I don't know what the wins are going to be. I heard light wins, but that could mean light wins, or that could mean, hey, out of nowhere, when you're trying to kick a field goal, the wind's going to go up by 30 mile an hour. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but I mean, isn't that just a crazy story with Carson Wentz? How he goes from being, you know, what was he, second pick in the draft, third pick in the draft,
Yeah, I think it was a third pick.
third, to being, they win. He looked like he was gonna win MVP that year that they won the Super Bowl, and then I mean, since then it's just been
Downhill.
downhill quick.
Yeah, very quick.
Like I
I
remember
mean,
thinking, hey, this guy might be a top three quarterback in a few
I
years.
mean, that's what injuries do to you in the NFL, man. You can get injured one time and your career could start slipping.
Well, and they also haven't helped him a lot too. And that's
Yeah.
that's my second point with this game where I'm not really worried. You look at that Eagles offensive line. Um, if I'm Miles Garrett, I'm licking my chops.
Then I think they lost their left tackle for the year before the season even started. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know they moved Jason Peters into guard. I think
Yeah, I think he did.
so. That'll be interesting if they keep him there or not. But yeah, I'm not too worried. Um, I do think it is kind of an interesting matchup. I think if the winds are relatively calm, and I don't mean calm as in like no wind at all. I mean like if it's just kind of a light breeze. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think this is a game that Baker could potentially really go off because it's
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
we talked about it. That secondary is depleted, but another thing, their linebacking core is, it's hard for us as Browns fans to say they
Yeah.
suck because our
Yeah.
linebackers
'Cause
are
look at our
terrible.
linebackers. Terrible.
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, Baker Baker in college owned, and I mean owned the middle of the field. And that's why I remember going back to Joe Klatt, um, on with Colin Cowherd, and Colin Cowherd said, why would anybody even consider taking Mayfield number one? And that's one of the things Klatt said. He said, look at the NFL. Look at the NFL. It's the game, the passing game is no longer just outside the numbers. You got to be able to attack the middle of the field with sharpness and accuracy. And he said in that draft, Baker was the best in college, at doing that. And, I don't think you've seen a whole lot of that this year. We've seen it somewhat his rookie year, but I think this is a game where if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm taking advantage of that depleted middle of the field of the Eagles, you know, especially with the tight
Yeah,
ends.
definitely.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting, but it's all dependent on the weather. So, and I'll tell you one thing, um, you know, with the last game there wasn't a whole lot of passing because of the weather, but I mean, look at Higgins and DPJ had themselves a game, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, it's not like they can't do it. Some people thought that there would be, this huge dip off once Beckham left, but I mean, they're getting the job done. And that's another thing. People were talking about Donovan. They were saying, "Oh my gosh, he was making some crazy catches and a couple of them were behind him and whatever." People were acting surprised by that. Go back and watch his college tape. That's
Yeah.
literally every catch he had.
College tape was kind of sweet.
Yeah, well, look at the quarterbacks that he had. Shea Patterson,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I can't even remember the other dude. I know what he looks like. I can't remember his name though. Um,
Kyle Corn.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But so he's had terrible quarterbacks. So if
Jake
you're going to be a good
Rudolph.
receiver, you gotta be able to make those athletic catches.
Yes.
So I mean, it amazes me how some people were surprised by that. But
Shouldn't be surprised.
yeah, well, some people. That's the problem in today's world. People talk without at least Googling, what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
True that.
um, but so yeah, I expect him. I'm telling you. I've been saying it since day one. I know you agree because obviously we've talked about it, but I think he is going to be primed for a huge breakout moment. We've seen kind of flashes of it,
Yeah.
at times, but
Not
I don't know.
full potential.
Yeah, and I mean, the only other game that I could see him just going off in would be Jacksonville, only because it would be in Florida,
Oh
and
yeah.
odds are we wouldn't have the crazy weather.
Yeah.
But
That should be a good game for us to air the ball out in.
that it would. So, I mean, you got any more thoughts on this game?
Not really, man.
7-3. That
Seven
that's crazy.
sounding, yeah. Unbelievable, man.
And I don't think Browns fans realized we have played 9 games, right? 9 games. In
It really doesn't feel like it, man. It feels
well,
like week 5,
but listen
week
to this. In 9 games, there's 16 games. In 9 games, Kevin Stefanski has already tied Freddie Kitchens' win record. He's beaten Hugh Jackson's win record in 2 years. So, I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
Browns fans arguing that Kevin's not been great recently, in the past few games. Give the dude some time. Give the dude some
Yeah,
time.
please. Look what he's done with. I mean, when's the last time the Browns been 7-3 after the bye week?
I, you know,
I
that's
mean,
one of the.
usually we're out of playoff contention by now, man.
I was just about to say. Normally by now we're talking about, hey, who are we going to draft? Who should we sign?
Definitely.
And I mean,
What new coach should we start interviewing? I
exactly.
mean, come on.
Who's going to get added to that interview list? And I mean, so far it's just kind of like I feel like Browns fans, and I know we've talked about this before too, and I don't want to keep, constantly talking about it, but Browns fans, I feel like, and I'm not talking about everybody, but there's a certain group that have always have to find something to be mad about. Quarterback, coach, you know, whatever. It's absolutely insane to me. And I was thinking about today. I can't remember who I was listening to. Um, oh, I know. It was Brownie post game. I think I've talked to you before about that.
Yes. Yeah.
They were talking about basically what we're talking about now, how this team compares to years past. Think about the quarterback. I mean, Brian Hoyer, you know,
Yeah.
Cody
McCall.
Kessler,
Yeah.
and it's like people are wanting to throw out Baker right now. It's like I get it. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time, hey, let's look at what we did have. Can you appreciate that?
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't it just
John
recently?
Kaiser, man.
Yes.
Um,
And wasn't it
Brock
just
Osweiler, man. I mean, people got to look at the bright side and not come on. Like, look where we came from. Trying to, I mean, back in the day, bro, we didn't know who our starting quarterback was going to be going into the games.
and look where we're at now, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's why. I mean, that's why you don't really see me complaining at all, man. Because I mean, I've known what we've been through in the past, bro, and it wasn't good. I mean, it was stressful, but now, I mean, you got somebody. So I mean, people need to get their heads out their butts and stop being so negative and just be thankful that we're not in that situation that we used to be anymore.
Dude, Ben Roethlisberger held the most win record or the highest win record as a quarterback in First Energy Stadium, and he does not play for the Browns.
Yeah, it's
That
kind of
just
crazy.
changed.
Baker.
Think about how like there have been a lot of things to happen in NFL history that are like, you know, I mean, you see it all the time. Teams that start off the year terrible and they finish and they get to the playoffs. Or you got the Giants, and I think they get through the wild card, got to the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots, whatever. There's crazy things that happen, but I mean, come on. For Ben Roethlisberger, a team that does not play for the Browns,
That plays at that stadium 2 games out of a year.
and the fact that we are just now breaking that, you know, people.
It's been some very bad football, man.
I think people just got to understand. I think sometimes in life you just got to look back and go, man, I used to be there. At least I'm here now. Could be better, but
Definitely.
at least I'm here now.
Yeah.
I think that's what we got to do as fans. Um, so before we wrap this up, now I'm just gonna here's what I'm gonna talk about. Right. So I seen this on Twitter.
Okay.
This guy put up this picture. And I'm not going to tell you what he said. I'm going to wait until uh, what you say first, and then I'm going to tell you what he said because I'd give it away. So
Okay.
he put up a picture that said you can only keep two, right? I'm sure you've seen these things before.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
he had um, Miles, Chubb, Beckham, and Baker. Okay. So I'm just going to explain to you how I thought this is what this meant, right? I
Okay.
took it as Baker finishes out the year good, like good enough that you keep him around. You know what I mean? Like he looks like
Definitely.
he's your guy.
Yep.
So that's how I took it. So from that list, tell me out of those two who you'd keep
Out of Chubb, Miles, and Odell,
and Baker.
Baker.
So out
Yeah.
of those four, you only can keep two.
Okay. Ooh, that's tough. So first, I would have to say Miles Garrett.
Okay.
And mm, I would say Nick Chubb. I mean,
Okay.
Nick. I'm gonna say Chubb.
So you're gonna say Chubb and Miles. Okay.
Yeah.
Now mine would be Miles and Baker. Now let me
Okay.
explain. Let me explain. Miles Garrett is one of the best, arguably some people would say the best defensive end in the game.
Agree with you on that. Totally.
And you look at the things that teams need to be successful, right? Outside of coach and organization,
Yep.
it's quarterback, it's a defensive lineman, preferably end, and then you have, cases like Aaron Donald, that's different. And then left tackle, right?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
two of the things on that list, quarterback and defensive player, and specifically Baker and Miles.
Actually, let me re-explain myself.
Okay, go ahead.
I would switch mine to Baker. Actually, I mean, if you look at it, it's not hard to find a running back in the league. I mean, you see it with all these teams finding dudes off the street that's coming out looking like superstars. So actually, you can find a nice running back to plug in. So I take that back.
Well, think about this. Kareem Hunt signed for another 2 years.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. Like we still got Kareem Hunt. I mean, you need your quarterback, somebody that knows the system, somebody you know who can play. I mean, yeah, you need your quarterback. Never mind.
Okay, so but you see what I'm saying there in my thinking. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
definitely. Yeah,
You need your quarterback, and then you need a superstar, or not even a superstar, just a,
you
a
can you can
really good player on the defensive line, right?
you can get a franchise running back in the third round.
Yeah. So, and by the way, realistically, I think you could keep three people from this list. One of them's already locked in Miles, right?
Definitely.
So let me tell you what this guy said, and this is why I'm bringing it up. He picked Chubb and Miles.
Okay.
You know what his reasoning was? He said that if you pick anybody else other than these two, then that means you're a racist and you're a white supremacist. Now the reason why I bring this up is because I feel like this is one of the dumbest things I have ever heard.
Yeah. It makes no sense at all. I mean, I don't get it.
Why? Okay, well let's not even get into the argument here. Let's just break this down logically. Look at the positions. Okay, Miles Garrett, defensive end, Baker, your quarterback, Chubb, running back, OBJ, wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
OBJ might be out the door anyway.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, and we'll talk about that later. But OBJ, you can if you took this list and you said get rid of one, I'm getting rid of OBJ. And I
Definitely.
think that's what's going to end up happening anyway. I think the Browns will pick up Baker's fifth year. I think they'll sign Chubb, and you'll be able to keep those three. But
Also, we got a Denzel Ward on the other side of the ball too. Let's kind of do some money.
Yeah, but I'm just taking from this list. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
I'm just trying to think, right? So this guy picks Chubb, which we all love Nick Chubb. I hope
Yeah.
they keep Nick Chubb, and
I
that's
hope
why I
they
want
do.
to get rid of OBJ. I don't think we need him, and I think that money that would go to
Taking
him,
up a lot, taking up a lot of money.
and that money could go to Chubb, and that's a way we could keep Chubb. So that's my reasoning there. Why I wouldn't want OBJ. And if you gave me the options of keeping two out of Chubb, Miles, and Baker, if Baker looks like your franchise quarterback and he finishes out this year, looks better than he did rookie year. He looks to be back on track. He's rolling. He's, looks great.
Doing his thing.
You cannot, you absolutely cannot let a franchise quarterback who is, what is he, 23, 24, whatever he is. My point is young. Walk first round pick, first overall pick, walk out the door for a running back, no matter how good he is. I mean, it could be Derrick Henry. I don't care. Put any running back there. Your franchise quarterback matters more. And especially being the fact that we had Kareem Hunt anyway. So the reason why I bring this up is I feel like this is just one of those things that it's just frustrating because it's like, you know, this guy says, "Hey, if you disagree with this, then you're automatically, this horrible person." But how does that make sense that you would rather have, you know, a running back over a franchise quarterback? I don't know. Am I missing something?
Nah, nah, you're not missing anything, man.
So I don't know. It's just one of those things when I read it, I read his tweet that said if you disagree with this, then you're racist. And I it just blew my mind, And I don't care. Put I mean, if you have any franchise quarterback, let's replace Baker with um who's number one? Let's go Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray. You have a list between uh, you know, replace Baker and keep the same list. Kyler Murray. You're gonna keep Kyler Murray. Same thing if you had Joe Burrow. You're gonna keep Joe Burrow. You know, it's not a hey, this person is a bad player thing. You literally have to have a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, that's what the league is built around
And what
franchise quarterbacks.
what did we just talk about? What did the Browns come from? Cody Kessler. What did the
Not
Browns come from?
not
Deshaun or not
knowing who
Deshaun
your
Watson?
starting quarterback is gonna be week to week.
That's what I'm saying. We came from Deshaun Kaiser, Brandon Whedon, Kessler, um, whatever. You get my point.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Google Browns quarterback list jersey. That's your reasoning why you need to keep your quarterback. So, you know, I know this is a stupid thing to talk about, but it blew my mind. It did. And the funny thing, if you go to the comments on that tweet, everybody's like, well, whoa, like, that's crazy. So I don't know. It's just one of those things that I felt like, it's, I didn't tell you his tweet for a reason. You know what I
Okay.
mean? When
Yeah,
you
I do.
look
Yeah.
at it from a logical standpoint and not a baseless argument, then it makes sense, you know? So I don't know. Anyway, so after however long that was
Great.
talking about that,
Great.
um,
Yeah.
let's go through some score predictions here. For the Eagles game Sunday. What's your uh what's your score prediction?
Okay, let's see. I got Browns 24-10.
24-10. See, I was gonna say 24-17. Browns. So we're pretty close.
Yeah.
Who's your this is one thing I want to start doing. Who's your MVP for the Browns and who's your MVP for the Eagles after this game?
MVP for the Eagles, I would say Boston Scott, and MVP for the Browns, I'm going to say Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt is going to have a great game Sunday. The
All
way
right.
he's been playing, and I just think Kareem Hunt's going to be our MVP Sunday.
All right. I'm going to go MVP for the Browns. It's easy. It's easy, but I'm going to say Miles Garrett because
Okay,
I
okay.
believe he's going to absolutely obliterate that Eagles offensive line. Um and then MVP for the Eagles, um I'm gonna go with assuming he plays, and what I've heard is he's gonna play. I'm gonna go with Zach Ertz.
Okay,
Go with
okay.
Zach Ertz. And I was
Fair
gonna
enough.
go with the running back Miles Sanders,
Oh, yeah.
but I feel like I feel like this is gonna be a game where you will be able to pass, just limited. You know what I mean? Like kind of that
Mhm.
10-15 yard range. So I feel like Ertz is going to have pretty big impact. So anyway, we both having the Browns winning. Somewhat similar thoughts on MVP, what's going to happen. So,
Yep.
uh, looking forward to this game Sunday. Looking forward to this game Saturday. What? Let's talk
Oh,
about that
yeah.
quick. What's your thoughts on
Prime.
that game?
Um, hey, I mean, 4-0, 4-0. But, I mean, I think the Buckeyes will handle business.
You think how? Do you think it'll be a close game? Somewhat close.
I think it'll be a close game through the first and second quarter, but I think in that third quarter, Ohio State is going to pull it out.
Hey, speaking of Ohio State, I guess you couldn't say breaking news. 17 minutes ago, I'm just now seeing it. Ohio State landed a 5-star quarterback, number one overall prospect in the 2022 class,
I actually did see that earlier.
Quinn Ewers. I don't know. He originally
Yeah.
picked Texas, so
Well, okay. Yeah.
so I mean, I guess that's good news. Probably won't see him for another 4 or 5 years, but
Yeah.
still good news. Yeah, I think that's gonna be. I don't know. I feel like this is a game where Ohio State can come out and maybe not make a statement, but just kind of reassure who they are. You know what I
Show
mean?
everybody that we're still here.
Yeah, because everybody thought that that Penn State game was going to be the one that was the tough one, and I mean Penn State. What are they? 0-3 now? 0-4?
Yeah, I won four actually.
That's insane. That's insane. So, I mean, you look at the rest of the schedule for Ohio State. You know, I mean, who's the toughest team? And I talked about this, but I think Indiana might just be the toughest team
Yeah. I yeah, definitely.
because I mean Michigan sucks as usual, but they suck more this year. You know, Penn State was terrible, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So I got Ohio State winning as well. I kind of wish this was a prime time game. Like, why would you have Rutgers be a late night game, but Indiana not? You know, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
looking forward to that game. Looking forward to the Browns game. Um, happy we got Isaac. So just kind of a recap there. Let the people know where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram at Cam Chasen with two N's, and you can find me on my Browns page at Browns Nation.
So be sure to check him out. Like I said at the beginning, if you can, anybody in chat, if you
Please
can,
find a name,
if you can
please.
come up with a name for this, we will shout you out, or at least I
Please.
will. So
We might even have you on as a guest too.
yeah, you can come on for
Couple.
picks. How about that?
Yeah.
You can come on and pick the game with us. So, all right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts on Cavs, Browns, and
Please,
even some
please,
Buckeyes there at the
please.
end. And thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Go Browns.
Oh wait.